Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Got another DH-Gate special for you today, and no, it's not a watch. Today we got a jump pack, and if you're not familiar with these are basically portable battery packs that allow you to jumpstart a car. You do get the case, which I've already opened up. You have a nice separating panel in here, which allows you to put the jump pack in one side and all your wires. Nice, neat little case. Here is the pack itself. We have an on-off switch on the side. I like that they put that on here to prevent accidental this thing accidentally getting pressed and draining the battery power on this thing here. You turn it on and you press the secondary power button. You'll see 4 lights. That is status lights. That shows you how much charge is left in this. Under the cap on the side here, we have a couple different ports. One is the port where the alligator clips go to jumpstart your car or your battery. The other port has a USB-C connection, which allows you to charge the device. 2 USB ports. One is actually a 5 volt 1 amp. Another is a 5 volt 2.1 amp. And then you have a DC out. On the flip side, you have a flashlight. Innovative that they put that on there. I think a lot of them do have that, because if you do have to jump start your car in the middle of the night, it's nice that you have a flashlight. You don't have to go looking for one, pulling out your phone. You got one built in here, right? Which is pretty handy. That's about it. You have a compass on here, but that's kind of something they put on here. I don't see the point in putting a compass on here. But yeah, it is what it is. And this thing here, I'm not sure what this is. There's like a little metal plate on the side here, and I have no idea what that is. I don't know if that's like, I think it's meant to be maybe a hammer of some sort, or like a, I don't think you could crack a window with that, but maybe you could if you whacked on something hard enough. It's like a hard surface, but don't quote me on that. The instructions are terrible on this. They don't even really tell you what the status light means. As far as the wires that come with it, you do have this multi-port USB cable. I like that they gave you this because you can charge the device with this using the USB-C or charge your cell phone, and kind of treat this like just a power pack, right? In the event that you need to charge your phone or something like that. You do have USB-C, the iPad, I forget what you call this, like an iPhone connection, and of course a standard micro USB. And then of course you have the alligator clips. They're just made of plastic with some copper kind of alligator teeth on there. Pretty straightforward. My only gripe on these, they always make the cables a little bit short. But I guess how long do you really need? It would be nice to kind of put this off to the side a little bit more. I'd also like to see, let me just check something here. I'd also like to see them maybe integrate some sort of magnet into these. I always like to throw up my 2 cents, because a magnet is kind of something where if you had these cables a little longer, you might be able to stick this underneath your hood or something, kind of get it out of the way. But again, not you know, I mean, not really a huge deal. To basically use this, you pop off the cover plate here for the jump pack, and it only goes in one way. You plug it in, and then you'll see some status lights start to blink. This is flashing red and green, and I'm just going to unplug it for a second here. Now, this is where the instructions are a little bit vague, but these things generally work the same. I have another pack from a different company. You basically plug it in, and you make sure you hook up red to red, black to black. They generally have circuitry that if you are drunk or something and you make a stupid mistake of doing it in reverse, this should, again, don't quote me on it, but usually these have, and again, use this stuff at your own risk. Usually these have circuitry in them that'll give you a warning and a beep letting you know, hey, you have the polarity reversed. If you did that with a standard set of jumper cables, you could potentially blow up the battery and damage the car. So it's nice they put that circuitry built in. The little confusing part here, it says in yellow, function, normal function. And bear with me here, the language barrier here is a little bit difficult. It says on, green light, low voltage. It says on, green light, low voltage. Off, red and flash, short circuit. Off, beep, red light, reverse charge. Off, beep, red light. So that makes no sense to me. So I'm just going to have to try this on one of my vehicles when my battery goes dead. But I will tell you that these are super handy. I use these often. I can't tell you the number of times I've had this in my car, and like my coworker is like, oh, dude, my battery's dead. Can you help me out? And it's really nice to not have to have somebody hook up to your car. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you know, as long as you do it and you make sure you're doing it correctly, there's nothing wrong with jump starting a car. But I do like the idea that this is something that you could very easily just take out, pop on the car, and give it a jump start. Now, the only downside to these things, and I can't speak 100% on this, is that this is kind of the way like battery chargers, like trickle chargers work. And not even trickle chargers, like battery chargers for your car. If you let your battery get too low, if that battery is completely dead, a lot of times the circuitry in these things won't allow voltage to flow if the battery is completely dead. So for instance, if you have a battery charger from like Harbor Freight and you have a battery that's totally toast and you go to hook up a battery charger, it won't register that it's got a battery hooked up. That circuitry in the device says, hey, you don't have anything hooked up, we're not going to let current flow. So then the battery doesn't charge. Same thing with the other one that I have. If the battery's too dead, it will not trigger you to be able to jumpstart the vehicle. So that's kind of a downside to some of these devices. I don't know if this one does that or not, but it may or may not. But for the most part, the success rate with these things is pretty good. I've been using these for quite some time, and the only time I've had issues is when, let's say I forget to put a trickle charger on one of my vehicles in storage, and I go to start it, and that sucker is just drained. At that point, I really have to use old school standard jumper cables, hook it up to a running vehicle, and just kind of let it sit for a little while until you get enough voltage in there to actually allow the battery charger to say, hey, I'm connected, I recognize you have a battery attached. Because it's no different than if I go ahead and plug this in and don't do anything, it thinks there's no battery hooked up. So if you have your battery completely dead, there's no voltage, it thinks, hey, you don't even have this thing hooked up. So I think it's like a safety feature, but that's about it really. Price on this is fantastic, only 42 bucks. It's a really inexpensive device to have in your car. Because you just never know when you're going to need it. So the price on these is so good nowadays that I encourage everybody to throw one in each car. It is something though you should add to your calendar though. I do this to kind of, you know, when you're doing, like, let's say you go get your oil change or something like that, is to kind of get into the mindset saying, okay, I got to get my oil change. Here's the other things I need to do. Maybe check my windshield wipers. Let me check my battery pack, make sure it's charged. Because this is only good if it's got a charge. And so something like this, I could see somebody getting it, charging it up, leaving it in there for 5 years. And I don't know if this thing continues to hold a charge. Generally, batteries, if they sit, even if they're not on or being used, they eventually lose their charge. But don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just kind of a good rule of thumb. But overall, great quality, nice rubberized construction. The other one I have is plastic, and if you drop it, I feel like it's not going to be able to take that abuse. Whereas this, I feel like if you accidentally bunk it or drop it, you're going to be good to go. Don't know what this little metal piece is. This might be some kind of a hammer of some sort, maybe a glass breaker, but it's kind of an odd shape to be a glass breaker. What else? That's it. They put a compass on here. That's useless. I think a much better... See if it has it. No, it doesn't. I think a much better change on when companies make these in the future. It's great that they put the light on there. Fantastic. I'd also like to see maybe like a flashing strobe when you're on the side of the road using this. You can kind of prop this up and you'll have some kind of flashing strobe light letting people know that, hey, you're working on something. I think that'd be a really great safety feature. In addition, put a magnet on it. Some sort of built-in magnet where you can stick this on the side of your car and then just make these cables a little bit longer. So that's my only gripes with it. Overall, great device. I selected this off DHgate sample program. So there's all kinds of products you can select as a YouTuber or as an influencer and review. I've reviewed many watches, as you know, in the past, and so I'm branching off into other devices. So they are limited on what they do have, but I thought this was a great product and definitely something I could keep, you know, in my trunk in the event that I do have a battery failure. Because there's nothing more annoying than after calling somebody and bothering them, saying, hey, can you come give me a jumper, asking a stranger, you know. So nice to be able to take care of problems yourself. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always here to help. I don't foresee you do, but links are in the description. Go ahead and pick one of these up, add it to your car. Subscribe to the channel, of course. Have a great day, folks, and take care.